Okay, I'm on the right Wi-Fi. Stream is on. So hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to another lockdown lessons. This week, as we have been doing already, we're going to be continuing with eye lessons. Today's eye lesson is going to be a little bit different. I was kind of planning loosely to do something to do with kind of speed and agility of the eyes. But when I woke up this morning, that really wasn't what I felt like doing. So we're going to do something with breathing. And we're going to use a particular breathing method that's kind of taught within the Feldenkrais method and other practices. And we're going to combine it with an eye movement. So hopefully that's a little bit unique and gives you an interesting experience this morning. But hopefully also it gives you an opportunity to use your eyes in a way that you haven't, and maybe let go of effort that isn't necessary, or identify effort that you're making with your eyes. So with that said, good morning, everyone. If you're watching and you want to just drop me a little comment to let me know who you are, where you're watching from, that's always appreciated. If you've got any comments or questions throughout the lesson, you can use the comment box as well. I know that some people are watching on Facebook and some people are watching on YouTube as well. Is there anything else? And then tomorrow's lesson, I think, is just going to kind of to wrap up the little eye series, and then we'll move on to a different subject next week. So I hope you've been enjoying them and your eyes feel like they're getting some nice attention, rather than just being used for your work or, watching TV or, all of those kind of things that we're doing a lot of at the moment. So yeah, if you're ready, if you want to begin the lesson, just take a moment to find a comfortable place to sit in. And as you sit there, maybe you can feel actually into your sitting position just initially. You can feel, are you sitting forwards? Are you sitting back? Do you feel as you sit down in the position that you're in, that you would, if you, in an ideal world, you would make yourself more comfortable than you currently are? So I think this is a good thing just to kind of remind ourselves about. So as we come to a sitting position, or what we think of a position to be ready for a lesson or an exercise or whatever it is, are we actually as comfortable as we could be? So then if you wanted to change, you could move your position and find something more comfortable for you. And that's a good starting point. Good. So if you've adjusted or if you've stayed in the same position, then just, as you sit there, maybe you can bring your attention very gently to your breathing. Again, breathing is a subconscious process most of the time. And occasionally within the Feldenkrais method and in Qigong and Tai Chi, you use your attention in such a way to bring it onto the breath, in such a way to either discover or provoke the breath in specific ways. Good. And notice as you breathe, as you sit there, as you breathe, maybe you want to close your eyes. Yesterday we did a lesson with, that was the day before. The day before we did a lesson which was slow blinking and kind of feeling the eyelids close. If you want, you can just do that for a couple of times, just to feel the sort of sense of weight on the eyelid, and that underneath the eyelid, the eyes can relax, that they don't need to be in action all the time. Good. I think tomorrow's lesson, that's the subject that I want to kind of talk about a little bit more. Great. And then what I'd like you to do is begin to follow your breath. But what we're gonna do initially is we're gonna just follow the in-breath and the out-breath. And what I want you to do is see if you can count 4 beats. So maybe you could tap your finger, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can count in your head. And I'd like you to just count 4 beats with the out breath and 4 beats with the in breath. Okay, so very easy to begin with. It might take you a minute or so to kind of get into a rhythm with that kind of breathing. The breath has this potential to be very adaptable to whatever situation we're in, whatever, like, so for example, swimming or holding your breath, or intense activity, or standing on your head, or whatever it is. The breath has this ability to be very adaptable. Great. So just do that breathing a few times. So 4 beats with the out breath and 4 beats with the in breath. Good. And then see if you can, as you're doing it, allow your eyes to come down with the movement of the out breath. So imagine that they're on the midline and the eyes are just coming down the midline with the 4 beats of the out breath, and they're coming up the midline with the 4 beats of the in breath. So you're just following the breath, kind of imagining that the breath has a level to it, and you're using your eyes just to follow it down, and you're using your eyes just to follow it up. Good. So that's kind of the premise for today's lesson, but it's going to get a little bit more funky. So what we're going to do is something called box breathing. Box breathing is a technique they use to disturb the kind of habitual breathing patterns, because it introduces a hold in between the in-breath and the out-breath. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, just for a moment, is breathe in, hold your breath, count 4 seconds, and then breathe out. Okay, so you're holding your breath for 4 seconds, and then you're breathing out. So breathe in, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, and then out. Great. And then what you can do is you can, after you've breathed out, you can hold the breath again, and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4. So in breath, hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Out breath, hold 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is kind of getting this box breathing. Okay, so if you imagine a box, okay, so we're going to do this. If you imagine a box, the box is in front of you. So for example, for me, it's very obvious because the screen is there and I'm looking at that. So you could think about the box of your laptop or your computer screen, and just kind of find maybe a square in that shape. And what I'd like you to do is just to begin with, just to find this sort of the shape of breathing. Okay, so it's in breath 4 beats, hold 4 beats, out breath 4 beats, hold 4 beats. Okay, so I'll just say that again. In breath 4 beats, so 1, 2, 3, 4 with the in breath, hold for 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4 with the hold, out breath 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4 with the out breath, and hold 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4 with the held breath. Okay, so just try that a few times. What you'll notice as you do it is that it kind of does disturb your normal habitual breathing habits. So you kind of need to give your body a moment to get used to this. You know, it takes a moment to get used to it. Good. So just do the breathing aspect. Don't worry so much about the box. Just think that you're holding your breath for 4 beats. Breathing out for 4 beats, holding 4 beats, and breathing in for 4 beats. And just kind of see if you can establish this pattern. Good. And continue to do that. And as you do it, what I'd like you to do is imagine this square. So you've got your eyes closed, and imagine this square in front of you with your eyes closed, and your eyes are just going to kind of follow the lines of this square. So with the in-breath, you can go along the bottom edge of the square. With the hold, you can go up the right side. With the out-breath, you can go across to the left on the top of the square. And with the hold, you can go down the left edge of the square. If that direction doesn't make sense to you, if you want to do the other direction first, that's fine. But see if you can keep the in-breath and the out-breath to the top and the bottom of the square, and the holds to the sides. So you're following this square with your eyes as you're doing the breathing pattern. Breathe in 4 beats, hold 4 beats, breathe out 4 beats, hold 4 beats. Okay. Using your eyes to create the square. And what you'll notice is that you need to move your eyes while your breath is held. And it's an interesting proposition initially. So just try it. You've become comfortable with the breathing, hopefully. And now you move on, and it's like you integrate something to do with vision into the process. And as you're using your eyes with the movement, you can notice sort of the difference in feeling between moving your eyes with the in-breath or the out-breath and moving the eyes while the breath is held along the square. Good. So when you've done it a few times in one direction, just change direction. If you can, keep the in-breath and the out-breath on the top and the bottom, but go in the other direction so that you're going counterclockwise if you're going clockwise, or clockwise if you're going counterclockwise. And you may need a rest from the 4-part breathing. I should have given you a rest. If you needed to rest before this point, definitely rest, even if I don't give an instruction. If you want to have a rest now, let's all have a rest. It's a bit funny to kind of continue this box breathing without taking a rest. So just take a rest. Let your breath come back to a normal rhythm. Its normal rhythm. And maybe with your eyes closed, you can just draw the square. So don't worry about the breathing for a moment, but just draw the square with your eyes closed. Just maybe you can keep the beats aspect going so that you draw a line 4 beats down, 4 beats across the bottom, 4 beats up the left, 4 beats over to the right. And just see if you can use the 4 beats to kind of keep a pace of looking with your eyes as well. So it's like we're using this sort of rhythm to have a uniformity of pace of the eyesight, the pace of the breathing. Good. Change directions with the eyes. Change directions with the eyes. And if you want to bring back in the 4 parts breathing, so that you breathe in for 4 beats, you hold for 4 beats, you breathe out for 4 beats, and you hold for 4 beats. This is called box breathing, and you can follow your eyes across the edges, across the lines of the box, seeing if you can make the eye movement as smooth as the breath and as continuous as the breath. Good. Okay, so then we're going to sort of make it a little more interesting. What I'd like you to do is change the orientation of the box. So the box was before 2D and flat. So you were looking at this square. Okay, what I want you to do is kind of change the angle of the box. So now you've got a close edge of the square and you've got a far away edge of the square. I wish I had an object I could kind of demonstrate that. So before, imagine this is a square. It's not, but imagine this is a square. Now what I want you to do is change the orientation. Okay, so you've got a close edge of the square and you've got a far away edge of the square. Close edge of the square and far away. Okay. If that isn't clear, let me know. But basically, we're just turning the square kind of so that it's flat to the floor almost, but you can see the top of it. Okay, so what I want you to do is, as you're continuing with this 4-part breathing, see if you can follow the eyes as far away as you possibly can, like we were doing in yesterday's lesson with the 4 parts, and then come across and then come back with the 4 parts all the way close to your body. Okay, so this is kind of giving you a sense of distance as well. So again, 4 parts, 4 parts, 4 parts, 4 parts, or 4 beats, sorry. And again, you're using your imagination. If it helps to have an object traveling along this kind of, maybe it's an oblong now rather than a square, but see if you can kind of keep the eyes and the breath operating together so that each section of the breath, in-breath or hold or out-breath or hold, has a corresponding movement with the eyes along one edge of the box. Your 4 beats might be a different pace than my 4 beats. Could be slower or faster. That's okay. Just kind of go into the rhythm that feels natural to you, and then begin to use your eyes to trace around the edges of the square. Feeling that you can introduce some sense of distance and nearness, narrowness. Proximity is probably better. So that your eyes are going far out into the distance, coming across the edge of the square, and then coming back. Good. Take a little rest. Take a rest. We didn't do that in the other direction, I don't think. That's okay. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is imagine that you've got a box around your body. Okay, so if you imagine the screen that I'm in, so we've got, if I can do it on the line, we've got one edge here, one edge here, and one edge here. Okay, imagine that this square is kind of going round you in this shape, right? And see if you can follow the breathing around this kind of internal square. So it's like up, across, down, and across. And see if you can follow it with your eyes. This is what's in terms of anatomy or movement anatomy, this is called the frontal plane. It's basically like if you had a piece of glass and you put it through the middle of you, separating the front and the back. Just see if you can kind of follow this plane with your eyes as you breathe in 4 parts, hold 4 parts, breathe out 4 parts, and hold 4 parts. Good. If you want to change direction as well, you can just do it once or twice in both directions. It doesn't need to be a lot. Good. And then we're going to change the organization, the orientation of the square again. And we're going to do it around the sagittal plane. The sagittal plane is basically front to back. So if you imagine that the square is now cutting through this way instead of this way, and it's the front of the body is the front edge of the square, the underneath of the body is the bottom of the square, back of the body is the back of the square, and the top of the body is the top edge of the square. Okay, so we're kind of going in this plane now. See if you can follow your eyes around the sagittal plane as you do this 4 parts breathing. This is a weird one because there's a moment in it where your eyes are looking behind you, which isn't technically possible, but I feel it's muscularly possible. Well, you can feel like you're looking behind yourself. Good. Breathe in 4 beats, hold 4 beats, breathe out 4 beats, hold 4 beats. Good. If you haven't changed direction with that one, please go ahead. Good. And then let go of the imagery, let go of the breathing, and just sit for a moment. Feel that your eyes have been kind of given all these interesting jobs to do, and they've followed along with the specific pace of the breath. When I was kind of trying this myself, this moment of moving the eyes while you're holding the breath was quite an interesting sensation. So I don't know how you guys found that. And there is a final plane of the body that they talk about in anatomy and movement, and that's the transverse plane, kind of going around the body. But I don't think we need to do that. I think that that's not necessarily useful in this lesson. So just take a moment, let your eyes rest, let your breathing kind of return to normal. Think through the kind of parts of the lesson and the bits that you found challenging, the bits that you found interesting. Are there some bits of the lesson that you'd like to take away and practice or try again? We, of course, can't get loads in a 20-minute lesson, but it kind of gives you a flavor of the Feldenkrais method and how it works with the eyes. And hopefully it has some kind of impact on your eyes, and you feel that your eyes kind of change in their quality or the texture of movement, or they feel more relaxed afterwards. I've had some nice comments this week from people saying that they've found some benefit in their eyes. So yeah, I mean, it's useful. We spend 20 minutes and it gives you something. So I hope you've got something from it, basically. So if you want to watch a replay, you can do it in my community group. You can do it on Facebook. If you want to share the lesson, you can do it via my Facebook page, my main Facebook page, which is facebook.com/thoughtful movements. Just find the video, click share. And if you want to donate, there's a link in the description to my PayPal account. I'm obviously very appreciative if people wanted to donate for these lessons, if they found some benefit. Another way of contributing is sharing the lessons. If donation isn't possible to you and you found some benefit and you think that other people might, then please share the lessons to other people, your friends and family. And I will be back tomorrow with another lesson. I think tomorrow's lesson, I'm going to do a little bit of kind of eye philosophy. So it's going to be looking at a kind of Taoist concept and how that can be useful to us in terms of how we understand, how we use our eyesight. So yeah, that's tomorrow's lesson. Okay, so thank you all for watching. I hope you had a good lesson, and I hope you have a lovely day. Take care. Bye.